Hi everyone, I'm here to talk a little bit about the final product, and since some will not be able to be here tonight, I thought we might have a little video to share. So here's what we have, and let me swap these. There we go. The final product, let's look at it. Let's look at what you're used to when it comes to a research paper. You're generally used to having an abstract, an introduction, a background, a literature review, which should already be turned in, or you're turning in before midnight tonight. So that is past. You don't have to do any more on that. Methodology, and the results of that methodology, and your discussion and implications. That's what we're used to when we write a research paper. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with that if you're writing a dissertation. And some of you will choose to write it this way in spite of what I'm going to talk about. Because we've always done it this way, we feel uncomfortable and puzzled. There you have it. You look puzzled. The world is now filled with multiliteracies as new ways to communicate continue to evolve. And you can see all the little circles in this picture here indicating different ways to communicate. So what should I do for this inquiry project? Well, you can write the standard report. Remember, a research document is only one mode of communicating results. And according to Harste and Kerwood, authors of Theories and Practices of Multimodal Education, print represents only one mode of communication. And with a rise in digital and internet literacy, other modes are needed, from visual text to digital ebooks. Think about that. So you could design a proposal for change. Some of you are actually researching things that might really and truly impact your schools or your curriculum. It might be good to have it in the form of a proposal. So I want you to think about that. You could create a booklet or pamphlet. Actually, those are in our text, and they take many forms. You can investigate that and look at it. The multimodal approach takes into account how linguistic and visual and other choices fulfill the purposes of the text, the audience and context, and how those choices work together in the organization and development of information and ideas. And I took this right out of Lim and Tan's book. So what is multimodality? Multimodality combines two or more forms of meaning. Siegel defined it as the social practice of making meaning by combining multiple semiotic resources, which semiotic, you're talking about social. The New London Group in 1996 outlined 6 modes of meaning making: linguistic, visual, audio, gestural, spatial, and multimodal. So what does multimodality mean in the 21st century classroom? Well, you want your students to construct activities that go beyond print-based literacies, in spite of the fact that our content, our English content, is basically print-based. Recognizing that digital media affordances make modes other than text increasingly valuable, and providing opportunities for students to bring existing literacies into the classroom. Here's an example. I saw many of these up at the Share Fair in Lexington. Examples of multimodal. You see they have everything in a research paper, only it's on a presentation board because they were required. And this was a capstone project here, but they were required to have a presentation board. And it's very effective. So what is multimodal writing? A multi-component project with each component composed in a different media. Multiple ways of meaning of developing expression. It could be written essay plus a voice recording plus a photo interview, or maybe just a movie. So what is 21st century literacy? Here is another multimodal project, which it looks simplistic. It looks like it was done hastily, but I guarantee you this is well thought out. It could be video and audio, and I have some examples of multimodal and video. Some of you have students that could help you with this, actually. Here's one. Let's start it over again. This is a multimodal project done by a student in college. And this is, of course, a game that parents and most individuals do not like. And it's on gaming. This is in lieu of like 105 composition for research. And now you see a lot of the research that's being integrated right now, flashing up on the screen. And there is his sources. Okay. And here's another one.
I transferred to uni this spring semester. I went to community college my fall semester, so my senior year I applied to be accepted. For this term, I've kind of seen a dip in my GPA just because I've been like really nervous trying to succeed academically. But you know, I've just been trying to find new ways to study and do better in my classes.
And I think I'll stop this. I think you have the idea that, yeah, it does take time to do things like this, but I guarantee you probably have students that could help you. And I want you to look at the impact that something like that can have. I don't know how many people are actually going to read your research inquiry project other than perhaps a few of your peers and myself. But I want you to think of the implications that your research can have on others and use the best possible venue. So let's go to the next one. Remember, they all have a purpose, an audience, and I want you to think usually modes there. But when we do multimodal, we know that there are different multiple modes, and I want you to think of the effect that that mode might have, long-lasting effect. Literacy, no longer confined to communication through reading and writing of traditional printed texts, has expanded and figuratively exploded, particularly within the past decade. Messages are now created, inscribed, sent, and received in multimodal ways. In today's world, a literate person must be able to read and create a range of paper-based and online texts, and they give some examples here. And also participate in and create virtual settings, and they give some examples here that use interactive and dynamic web tools and critically analyze multimodal texts that integrate visual, musical, dramatic, digital, and new literacies. So I want you to think about this. The way material is presented is changing, or perhaps it has changed. We still have the old, but we also have the new. How are you going to culminate your product? What is your project actually going to look like? Your literature review is already submitted. Now you have to think of a way to actually share your research. I hope that helps in our discussion of what the product might look like. I'm looking forward to seeing what you have.